Hi, Firat. I'm Elliot, the lead animator on Star Wars Warhammer. And as promised, I said I will review your Demoreel and give you my feedbacks. Um, Sorry, I'm eating some candy. You know, it's Halloween tomorrow, right? Um, yeah, no. So overall, I think your Demoreel is great, and I can see you are a great animator. Um, if we were looking for, a junior or something. Um, I think you would have even a mid, like a low mid. I think you would have your chances. Being hired is always often a timing thing, having some luck and a timing, good timing, sorry. Yeah, I mean, since we are over this shot, I will go straight away. I think this is great. This is a great shot, and the weight is great as well. So, because all along the demo reel, apart from that death, but all along the demo reel, you mainly have light stuff. Um, well, actually, I'm lying. There was three shots where you were trying to demonstrate weight here as well a little bit. Very vanilla walk cycle. Um, and this is cool, but a bit too far to see anything really. Yeah. No, so yeah, since I was talking about this shot, let's go back to this shot. I think your demo reel overall is looking good, by the way. It's always nice to see a nice polished demo reel, so that's great. But where is the shot? Here. But one thing I will mention, if you are ever, gonna do shots like this again in the future with camera and motion blur and all of that, make sure that so it's cool, but make sure that you don't hide anything with your camera movements. Because at the end of the day, it's still an animation demo reel. It's not just like, a cool montage that you're gonna. I mean, I guess it could be that as well, but when you apply to a studio, make sure everything you add to your demo reel to make it more nice to look at, do not hide your animation skills. Here, for example, the camera moves a bit too much, and especially here at the death, it's actually really hard to say what's happening because the camera moves so much, it bounces up and down that it kind of hides the animation a little bit, and that's definitely something you don't want to do. Um, so there was another. I'm not. By the way, here I will not comment on the jump because the jump on the video feels very slow. But I don't know if it's because I recorded your video. But yeah, if it's in your actual demo reel, uh, the fact that the jump here is the spacing is very slow. Um, what I would say is, I said I would not comment, and I am, but if that's the case in your demo reel, check your spacing because it's annoying to hear that, but go back to the bouncing ball principle and make sure you're spacing. The jump here is where it should be all like after he releases he straightened his legs to push after he pushes, sorry. Um, this is where it should go, the fastest in your animation because he's just releasing all that energy and it's just pushing himself really hard to jump. So yeah, here this is actually the slowest. So I'm not sure if it's because of the capture I did. But anyway, the next thing I was gonna say is you've got few cases where here you did it and it's great. We can see, the ground because you did some rendering and it makes it nice. But there is another case here where we actually don't see the ground. So if you do another shot like this, make sure at least you've got occlusion so we can see the contacts. Yeah. So yeah, overall, I will not go over all your shots and stuff like that. I think, your shots are the shots that I see here are good. The walk cycle is great, but I mean, you could have, I mean, that character has short arms a little bit, but so it does feel a bit weird. Or rather, it's rather long, really long torso. Anyway, the proportions are a bit odd. Um, yeah, it's working. It's just a vanilla walk cycle, but perhaps, if you want to make it more interesting, because I'll be honest, seeing everything here, I'm pretty sure you can do a vanilla walk cycle, with your current level of animation. So if you want to include a walk cycle, you better, make it a bit more interesting because here I don't think it adds much value, because the rest just talks for yourself really. The rest we can see that with the rest we can see that you could do a vanilla walk cycle, but could you show different attitude, different characters with your walk cycle, a slow walk cycle, a fast walk cycle, with since you're not afraid to use props, then use props in your walk cycle as well. Have the shield being really heavy, or yeah. So that's something I would advise you to do. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, what about this one? What can I say about this one? I think you could break that down a bit more. Like, you see the whole chest, head, and arm are going backward, but you could break that down with another frame. Delay the chest going back. Just start with the arm going back, and then the chest, and then the head. Um, I think that's the only advice I could give you is you should go a bit more in detail with what you do. Um, because you do light and fast things quite well. You could work on your poses a bit more. Like here, for example, that pose, you could make it a bit nicer with like a nicer line of action. Make sure the chest, since she's raising her arm, carrying a weapon that is quite heavy. I mean, that should be quite heavy, I guess, 'cause it's huge. You could, really push if you try it yourself to go on one leg and raise your arm like this, you will see your chest will. I'm doing it right now. You can't see me, but you can see your chest will go. Um, Let me take my pen so I can actually show you what I mean. Your chest will actually, go on that line with that line, um, something like this. That's kind of a classical thing, right? But here that works. And you could have a better line of action here, or if that's not in this direction, then can be in the other direction. But actually it makes way more sense. Don't know why I drew the other one. But yeah, yeah, that you could go into more details here. And the other thing as well you could look for is, if you look at your feet, they are really not moving at all. Um, or follow through here. I mean, you've got secondary animation that does it for you, and that fits with the style of character. But if you want to apply it for us, you need to go into more details. For example, I think in this one I could see as well there was some poses that needed to be polished. Um, I think it's when she jumps. Yeah, here. I went through frame by frame and I noticed this, which is not, really nice. For example, here, this anticipation pose is great, by the way. It's great. The only thing I will say is perhaps, I mean, that will kind of break your line of action, but perhaps she actually need to look down, so you would need to probably bring her head here a bit more, um, so she could just look down. So that, but that could help your silhouette as well a little bit, perhaps. But um, yeah, I think you need another breakdown from here to here, because that's very extreme. And if you were to stretch something, I wouldn't stretch the belly. I would stretch the legs, purely because that doesn't look too nice. Also, you've got that girl is model is quite nice, right? The girl is beautiful and all of that, so there's no point of, if you want to make it something longer, do it with the legs. Also here you make her fall like a nail straight down, but you have a nice arc here, so I would be tempted to, I mean, the classic thing is, um hold on, here you've got a you've got a nice reverse C shape. Well, you could go with C shape when she hits. Also make sure you've got like a nice straight with your arms, because I don't think you have that at some point, especially at the contact pose. But yeah, well, here it's a reverse C shape, but so reverse C shape, to do some contrast, that would be quite cool. Whereas here you make her go fall like a nail, which, well, first the pose, like I said, oh, you hold that on 2 frames as well. So yeah, yeah, I would definitely advise you to do something a bit more fun. You could push the pose here for sure. So like I said, she, in my opinion, needs to look where she's hitting. Um, and straight arms, because straight are powers. Remember that. And here, you could make it a bit more fun with the oops, sorry, my shortcuts are wrong. With the feet, something like this, or if you want not to hide and sorry, confused again with my I don't know, something like that. I don't know. Just try to make it a bit more interesting. Yeah, so overall, more detail. It's okay to do nice and light and fast stuff, but then um, I actually don't have much to say about the dinosaur shot because I can't really see much. But that looks like it's very it's very inspired from our work, right? If I'm not mistaken. Um, yeah, yeah. There would be stuff to say like the contact here. We should really feel the push. You could have a straight with the leg, a leg a bit straighter, or more straight. I'm not sure if we can say straighter. Here, that pose doesn't look too great for the dino. This is great, although yeah, the camera moves a lot. Seems like perhaps your body mechanic here, if I see the hips and the leg, yeah, no, it's all right. I mean, yeah, could always improve that, but yeah, overall, I think it's nice. Um, the reaction let's see. The fall is a bit odd here. If you'd see like that frame, not sure what's happening with that frame, the spacing of that frame. Yeah, and then the contact on the ground does not feel too good. Here you could introduce some more pain, like shaking, he's trying to here there's not enough detail here, so it feels a bit 3D, if you know what I mean, just like a bit of keys and decisions here. This one I will not comment too much because I think, yeah, but that one is the one, for example, I could see that, and then that will probably be the last thing I will say because it's already long enough. But if you do shots like this, which are great, make sure, at least if you want to apply for us, make sure that this is polished. Here I can see the too big of a disconnect between the upper body and the legs. So that kind of tells me you might have used a motion path or something, but which is okay to do, right? I mean, we never really, well, in really rare cases, we use that in for Total Warhammer, like in game, but that's fine to do it this way. But then you need to kind of bake it and or not or whatever, but you need to like polish. You need to polish the legs. You need to make sure that you don't have anything that is broken like this. This doesn't. Well, sorry, my drawing is rubbish, but you know what I mean. Like here, that legs is not correct. The legs should be here should be kind of straight, and then the pose should be like this if you want to. Or here, like what's happening here. I don't know. It's all broken. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel nice. So even if the rig is not great, perhaps it's great. I have no idea. But if the rig is not great, you at least need to make sure that your shapes are correct. If that is that thing here. If that is sorry, if that is a result of basically breaking the rig, um, because you try to do a good pose, then try to hide it somehow. Sometimes it's not easy, but because yeah, but I think it might be something else here, but here definitely you could have, you could have fixed um, you could have fixed that pose. Yeah, for sure. Because here you need a straight or at least yeah. Anyway, have a look at at things like that. Again here, sorry. Again here, it's a case of would have been nice to have the occlusion so we could see what's happening. Or the face here being, not animated at all, or at least feeling like it's not. The ears not moving. Yeah, so that's the type of thing I would say is if you want to apply for us, that's the type of thing we will do. We will watch your animation frame by frame. Yeah, and I'm sure you noticed, but it can happen that we do light stuff and cartoony stuff for a faction. For example, I'm thinking of, the greenskins, the goblins, and things like that. They are more cartoony than something, really heavy. But most of the time, our style, I would define it as, heavy. We do heavy stuff. So try to try to think of doing more heavy stuff if you wanna apply for us. But yeah, that's it. I think Firat, you're a great animator. You're doing some great shots. So keep doing what you're doing. Uh, I think now you can think of everything I just said, go into more details, really go frame by frame, or at least 50%. So if you notice something at 50%, so for example, here I just did, which I didn't before, and I say 50% is because it's especially true for our game, but for our game, the player can. So we've got like a time control here with like normal speed, pause, and then fast forward. Those are triangle, by the way. And then you've got I can't remember the logo, but it's basically half speed here. So the player can reduce the speed to half speed. So that's why this is kind of like my way of thinking when I review animation. I do not often go frame by frame, but if I do not notice something full speed, then I slow down the animation to 50% and I have a look at it. If I then notice something, which is exactly what happened here, then it means it needs fixing because the player will be able to see it. So here, for example, that pose I find is a little bit too forward, so it looks like she's gonna fall on that side. So you would effectively here to fix that need to basically bring the hips a bit more like that and do whatever you did. The rest is kind of okay, right? But yeah, so something a bit more balanced. Apologies for my really awful drawings, but you know what I mean, and that's something I didn't notice when I first watched it full speed. So yeah, you need to go into more details. That would be my main advice for you. Polish things and really think about the best poses you can come up with, how to push poses. You've got some great poses, like this is great, but then sometimes it contrasts, or this is great as well, but then it contrasts with some of your in between that are not too great. So you see, now you need to go next level, Firat. Your arcs are great. You've got a nice flow in your animation overall. It's just yeah, more details and heavier stuff. That does not feel too great as well. Yeah, I would probably try to move the um, the shield, perhaps, have the shield here just to something like this, and then you would still be able to see his uh, his face, because here the proportion is very odd. Again, that's something you would normally not notice or here how he lands. And actually, here, if he had to do this, trust me, his hips would be here. Like, he would just be fighting the force going this direction to stay standing, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so you need to go next level now, Firat. So yeah, best of luck, great work, and yeah, better luck next time. I hope what I said is okay. I hope it does not, affect you in a bad way. It's only to help. And yeah, if anything isn't clear or you want more feedback on some of your animations or future animation, do not hesitate. When I have time, I'm always happy to help. Thank you. Bye.